Are you a horse farm owner thinking about selling your property? There's a lot that goes into the sale of equestrian real estate, and an inspection is usually part of the process. Because horse properties usually feature structures other than a home, the inspection can be much more involved. So in this video, I'm going to tell you how to prepare your farm for an inspection ahead of time so that you don't end up under contract and overwhelmed by the number of repairs requested in the aftermath. Watch until the end for those last-minute tasks you'll want to remember on inspection day. First, it's important to understand as a whole, if you're selling a property that includes barns and outbuildings, expect that they'll most likely be inspected in the same way that a home would, and that includes the roof, structure, grading and drainage, ventilation, and plumbing and electrical. That said, let's dive in. We know, of course, that New Hampshire can have some pretty harsh winters, so if you have a barn, make sure it has proper structural supports for the roof. Melting snow can cause ice dams, and built-up moisture can cause structural issues and mold growth, and in some extreme instances, even cause the roof to collapse. So check the roof and clean any moss and debris from the gutters, look for damaged or missing shingles, and make sure downspouts are positioned correctly. If you do find damage on the roof, you'll want to get it taken care of prior to the home inspection. Additionally, barns tend to contain a lot of flammables, so it's important to make sure that any fire hazards are taken care of. This includes cleaning cobwebs from ceilings and walls, keeping hay stored away from sources of light or heat, maintaining any fields around the barn and other structures, and ensuring ABC fire extinguishers are in place, which should be every 75 feet according to the UNH cooperative extension. Next, barn aisles should be swept and stalls mucked out, not only to keep the ground free of slipping hazards, but also to keep unwanted pests at bay as much as possible. Which brings us to pest control. If you've been experiencing a rodent problem, you'll want to get it under control prior to inspection. There are humane ways to do this without causing harm to horses and other animals on the farm. First, make sure feed bags and buckets are emptied and put away, and grain is properly stored to help lessen access to any food source for rodents. And if you're not short on time, another solution that's been proving successful in farm settings is using rat birth control, which significantly lowers the population over time. Beyond the barn, you'll want to be sure to repair any broken fence panels, which can pose safety hazards for horses. And throughout the property, whether it be on fences or in the barn or home, exposed nails should be removed or hammered in. Electrical safety across the property is also important, so non-GFCI protected electrical receptacles should be upgraded, and any bare light sources in the barn and outbuildings should have a protective covering added. Additionally, you'll want to replace any bulbs that are simply out. A blown bulb will catch an inspector's attention, and they're really easy to swap out. By inspection day, you'll have done everything you can to prepare in advance, and it's time to focus on making sure the day goes as smoothly as possible. So you'll want to make sure all utilities are on, check that you've left clear paths to access areas and systems all around the property, and unlock any gates or other areas that you normally keep secure, so long as, of course, it doesn't pose a safety issue for your horses or any other animal on the property. Now that your equestrian property is ready for inspection, be sure you've watched my last video, When is the best time to sell a horse property in New Hampshire? In it, you'll learn about the pros and cons of listing during different seasons so that you can leverage all the best aspects of your property when it comes time to sell. Lastly, if you're wondering what your equestrian property may sell for in this market, reach out to me for a free analysis.